Tonight, Mark Carney unveiled what could become one of the most ambitious nation-building strategies in modern Canadian history. And this was about far more than environmental policy alone. Carney announced plans to dramatically expand Canada's electricity grid, modernise infrastructure, strengthen internal economic connections, and position Canada as a major global energy leader. But the deeper message was geopolitical. After years of tariffs, trade disputes, economic uncertainty, and instability linked to the United States under Donald Trump, Carney signalled that Canada can no longer rely too heavily on unpredictable external systems. This was not a message centred on restrictions or political conflict. It was a message about building infrastructure, strengthening energy security, expanding economic resilience, and preparing Canada for a more competitive and uncertain global future. If you want deep analysis on the political and economic transformation reshaping Canada right now, subscribe to the Canada News, because tonight we are breaking down the speech that could redefine Canada's future.
Our sustainability, our prosperity, will depend on our ability to supply and control our energy. We have to unlock Canada's full potential as an energy superpower. As the head of the International Energy Agency, Fatih Birol, said just last week, Canada has, and I quote, a golden opportunity to build a more sustainable and reliable energy system. This will require bold investments, practical solutions focused on results, not rhetoric, and the full force of a united Canada working together. Working together to build a stronger, more resilient, more independent Canada that works for all. That's our mission. And as the Minister just said, central to that mission is more electricity. As our industries expand, our economy grows, AI accelerates, electricity demand in Canada is expected to double by 2050. So we will double our grid. That's the headline. Canada will double its electricity generation over the course of the next 2 decades. Because the path to affordability is electrification. The path to competitiveness is electrification. The path to net zero is electrification. Electrification underpins everything: our emissions, our environment, our economy.
Mark Carney is no longer speaking like a traditional Canadian Prime Minister, focused only on managing short-term challenges. Increasingly, he is presenting himself as a leader preparing Canada for a far more competitive and uncertain global environment. Pay close attention to the themes throughout this speech: growth, investment, industry, infrastructure, innovation, and national strength. Beneath all of it is one central message: Canada must become more resilient and self-reliant as global instability rises and confidence in international systems becomes less predictable.
Hi, David Thurton with CBC News. Prime Minister, you mentioned that tomorrow you're going to be announcing how your government and the Alberta government is advancing a pipeline. Can you tell us, is there a proponent yet? Have you settled on a route or some possible routes? And also, are you planning to designate this pipeline a project in national interest and then fast track it like C5 would do?
A couple of things. Thank you for your question. I mean, I'd like more of the announcements to come out tomorrow next to Premier Smith. I'll say the following, though, is that the MOU and the intention of the MOU has been that Alberta would advance, that there will be a private sector proponent for the pipeline, that the federal government has, well, I shouldn't say the federal government, it's an agreement, so we all agree on this, that there are multiple preconditions for that pipeline moving forward. It includes strengthening the carbon market. It includes the methane regulations that the Minister helped put in place and have been put in place now. It includes very much the Pathways project moving forward, no pathways, no pipeline, so all those elements moving forward. But we're making progress, and it's a private sector proponent. Obviously, you can't designate something which has not yet been fully proposed. So that's why I chose carefully the word advancing as opposed to concluding.
For years, Danielle Smith has pressured Ottawa through debates over pipelines, energy policy, and growing regional frustration. Many expected Mark Carney to either give in to that pressure or intensify the political conflict. Instead, Carney presented a very different approach. His message was essentially that Ottawa is prepared to support major energy and infrastructure projects, but provinces must also contribute to broader national goals. That is why his statement, "No pathways, no pipeline," carried major political significance. Carney made it clear that if Alberta wants stronger federal backing for pipeline development, then Alberta must also participate in methane reduction efforts, carbon market strategies, and wider national energy objectives. Politically, it is a careful balancing strategy, resisting pressure while still keeping Alberta fully connected to a broader Canada-first economic vision. One of the most revealing moments of the press conference came when Carney openly acknowledged that, in many cases, Canada can trade electricity more easily with the United States than between provinces inside Canada itself. That statement carried enormous implications. After years of tariffs, trade disputes, and economic uncertainty connected to Washington, Carney is signaling that Canada needs stronger internal economic integration and greater national resilience. And in many ways, this discussion goes beyond electricity alone. It is also about economic sovereignty, long-term stability, and reducing vulnerability in a rapidly changing global environment.
Today, Canada is powered by many separate electricity grids, most of which aren't connected to each other. In many cases, it's easier to trade electricity with the United States than across our own country. And that fragmentation costs us billions of dollars. It means more power outages, expensive, duplicative infrastructure, and higher prices for Canadian families. It also means that many northern and remote communities aren't connected to the broader Canadian grids at all, resulting in energy bills that are 6 to 10 times higher than the national average. Fragmentation means wasted power, about 10 terawatt hours every year. That's enough to power 1 million Canadian homes for that year. Connecting grids in Europe is already saving nearly $80 billion a year, and the opportunity in Canada is just as significant. And that's why back in November in Tariffs, BC, our government referred the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor to the Major Projects Office. This is a project that will generate $10 billion in economic activity, that will connect northern communities and build a new clean energy corridor for generations. It will link Yukon's isolated grid to British Columbia's and the broader North American grid through the Yukon-BC Grid Connect, while creating that potential connection with Alberta.
When reporters attempted to challenge Mark Carney on climate goals and possible contradictions within his strategy, he avoided getting drawn into ideological arguments. Instead, he consistently shifted the conversation toward practicality, affordability, and measurable results. His message was straightforward. Canadians are growing tired of constant political battles and symbolic debates. What many people want now are projects that move forward. Lower living costs, stronger energy security, and governments focused on delivering real outcomes rather than slogans. That is the political space Carney appears to be targeting right now. Less ideological conflict, more construction, investment, and long-term nation-building.
Alex Ballingo, the Toronto Star. Just going back to Najud's question, I think you said update to the targets in due course. Can you just expand on that? Are we
Due course is due course, Alex.
But we're changing our climate?
Oh, no, that's not what I said. What we are doing, and let's be clear, and this is the approach of this government, is we are focused on investing to get results. We're focused on practical steps that are going to get results. It doesn't do us good to be sitting in court all the time with provinces. It doesn't do us good to be talking past each other. What it does do us good is to come together, specific projects. You know, in the end, these aren't words on a page. This is Russ, this is Sean, this is Frank and Francis and their colleagues going out and building things, connecting things, making progress. That's what we're focused on. That's what's going to deliver the results. What you're seeing today is the next iteration of a strategy that's all connected. It's connected start, with the workers to make it work. We know we need more workers, so we got a strategy to do that, which we developed with the unions, we developed with the provinces. We're putting into place. It means working with the provinces. This strategy is informed not just by the personnel that we have in, although it sure does help to have the former CEO of Hydro-Quebec, part of developing that strategy. So not just the personnel that we have in government, but the fact that we've been working with provinces and utilities and the private sector on some of these big projects. Think about the Northwest Conservation Corridor in BC. That's a huge opportunity to make the system more efficient. Indigenous ownership, conservation area the size of Greece at the same time, as all part of that strategy while we're making it. So, Alex, it's the emission reductions are the product of the actions, and the government is putting more focus on the actions, really rolling up the sleeves and making sure these are moving forward. And by doing so, it concentrates the mind on several things. One, what's holding up projects moving forward. I gave you the example of Contrecoeur, bouncing around for 40 years. Now it's moving forward. Mackenzie Valley, bouncing around for 60 years, 61 years. I'm 60. Well, I guess maybe I became sentient or whatever at 3 or 4, but I've literally been talking about it since then. That's pretty bad when your earliest childhood memory is the Mackenzie Valley Highway, but there you go. So really moving forward, and also the fact that we're focused on the here and now means that we think about affordability all the time. So how do we do this in a way that's going to be affordable for Canadians? Because that's what they deserve, and we think we have a variety of things. I'm going to end on this just to reinforce. I say it's all connected, but how do we make it affordable? We make it affordable by linking together as many of the grids as possible, east, west, north. Huge efficiencies that come from that. We make it affordable through a series of financing mechanisms that the federal government can provide and complement to the provinces and others. In effect, what those do is spread costs over a long period of time, so it's not all borne by ratepayers today. We make it affordable by using a wide range of energy sources from different parts. We've talked a bit about gas today, more than it merits in terms of the overall contribution, but it is part of the way that we unlock affordably these bigger clean energy. And we make it affordable by making it affordable and possible for Canadians to save energy. I mean, we have 7 million Canadians, right, who households who have some form of in the extreme energy poverty or energy pressure. And they're using home heating oil, they're using propane, they're using baseboard heating, they don't have access. We're working for 1 million of those homes through a new retrofit program, and we're working to build out these grids in a clean way that's going to get affordability down and that $15 billion of savings.
On the industrial carbon price.
Did you catch that? That's my last comment. Thank you very much.
Tonight's press conference revealed something far bigger than a discussion about clean electricity alone. Mark Carney is attempting to reshape Canada's economy around energy security, industrial expansion, infrastructure development, and long-term national resilience. And beneath the entire strategy was one central message: Canada must become stronger, more connected internally, and more self-reliant as the global environment grows increasingly uncertain and unstable. That is why this speech carries major political significance. After years of tariffs, trade disputes, supply chain disruptions, and economic uncertainty linked to the United States, Carney is now openly preparing Canada for a future where economic sovereignty and domestic resilience matter more than ever before. This was not simply symbolic politics or short-term messaging. It was presented as a long-term blueprint focused on building a stronger, more competitive, and more independent Canada. And regardless of whether people agree with every aspect of the plan, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Carney is trying to prepare Canada for a very different world by building a very different kind of national strategy. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to the Canada News for more in-depth analysis on Canada's transformation, Mark Carney's leadership, and the major geopolitical shifts reshaping North America right now.